It's time for The Artist Within. I'm so excited to introduce our guest for today. Her name is Bonné Bartron. She creates wonderful artistic candles. Let's get started. So you are a candle maker and you create candles and sell them online. When did this begin? Your the art side of you, was this something you found as a child, or was this like a you fell into out of the blue?
So I started like loving candles when I was a kid, but I literally never was able to play with wax. I think my mom would have lost her mind. My mom is very much Martha Stewart, and if wax had hit the tile floor, she would have lost her absolute mind. So that never happened. But whenever I was a production designer in my mid-20s, I worked on a project for Disney's T-180, and we did a witch's house. And part of it was having like a bunch of, handmade candles everywhere. And so I had to do them as props. And after we were done filming, there was still probably like 10 pounds of wax left over. And Disney just let me take it because we weren't going to be using it. They were like, yeah, just take it. So I took it and I made some candles out of it. And I mean, really crude candles. And over the years, I started buying more and more, and I would just make them like kind of as probably a few times a year I'd pour them, like not very consistently, but just for fun and like for myself, or like I'd pour them into a jar that I already spent, something like that. And then in 2019, one of my friends had seen a candle that I had made recently and was like, oh my God, I'd love one of those. And I was like, you know what, I'll make a bunch of them just to hand out to friends and coworkers for Christmas and for the holidays, for Hanukkah. And I did. And I mean, people just loved them. They thought they were so unique because I have to make everything weird. I can't just do anything normal. So people really enjoyed them. And I was like, well, you know what? I'm going to keep making them. And I ended up making so many of them that my boyfriend was like, all right, you got a choice here. You either A, stop making candles, or B, start selling them. And I was like, I don't know if there's a market for it. He was like, I'm just saying, like, I'm drawing a line. The entire house smells like so many different things now. Like, there are candles as far as the eye can see. So long story short, I put up a thing on Etsy in February 2020 and started selling, and had some good success, started selling, consistently, not a lot, but like consistently. And then COVID hit. And it was so interesting because I started sending people candles as well, just as like care packages, especially my friends who were alone, didn't have anybody, like I wanted just to like something nice to show up in the mail, just something like that. And before I knew it, people were buying my candles to send them to people for care packages. And like, that was such an amazing feeling to be able to like bring somebody a smile in a really dark situation, like what we were facing, especially at the beginning of COVID, how terrified everybody was. And yeah, I kept doing it. It kind of took over my life for about a month in November. I was not expecting that my first year. And like I sold more candles from November to December than I had the entire calendar year. So I was pulling like 20-hour days getting the candles. Wow. It was insane, but it was fantastic. And it was really nice because it was a nice little bump during a year where, things that were supposed to be financially paying off did not happen this year. Right. So it was really nice to have that for both the connection and for, the ability to buy Christmas presents a little nicer than I was going to for my nieces. Yeah.
Talk about right on time. I mean, it was right? 100% perfect timing.
Isn't that incredible?
Yeah. So what has it been like on this side of the business, being a entrepreneur? What have you learned that you didn't know being in Hollywood or being an author? And what have you used from being in Hollywood to use in your business as a candle maker?
Good question. That's a really good question. I'm gonna have to think about that for a second. Well, I would definitely say that it helps that I understand how to kind of visually tell a story. I think that's one of the things that people really respond to with burning gem candles. My candle store on Etsy is the visual story of it, and the experience of burning a candle. Like, to me, it is a story as you watch it melt. And I always tuck like a little crystal inside of it of some sort. And one of my best friends that I grew up with in Colorado, she is a miner. She's actually discovered a few minerals. And she, like a geologist. Yeah. I'm like, like not a miner, like a child.
No, I know what you mean.
Yeah, totally. Just to clarify. But so she pulls gems like straight out of the earth. And I started buying from her because it occurred to me that in our lives, there are very few things that we own that nobody else has ever touched. Like, I looked around my house and I realized, like, it was funny. I was opening a canvas, like a blank canvas to do a oil painting. And I was like, this is the first time that anybody's ever touched this canvas. And I was like, no, it's not. Somebody made the wood frame. Somebody even made the nails that went in the wood frame. Somebody stretched the canvas. Somebody painted it. Somebody packaged it. Somebody shipped it. Like, there's so many hands that touch something before it gets to us. And like, that's beautiful because it makes us all connected. But it also made me realize that there's very little in my life that only has my energy on it, And that was something that I thought was really special about the crystals that Danny pulls from her mine, is she's the only one who touches them, and then me, and then the person who gets them. So that's how it started, was I was just tucking those ones in there. And I even tried to use tongs so I would touch them even less, to make sure that they stayed nice and fresh from the earth for whoever bought them. But yeah, I mean, I think that's probably the thing that more than anything really connects with filmmaking, is that storytelling, that idea of like putting something in that is specifically for the audience, something that is an intimate moment between the audience and the art. Like, that's something that for me is really important no matter what it is. But it is very different. Like, I mean, I'm not used to marketing things myself. That was very, illuminating. And even just, setting things up. And I am also a bit of a perfectionist, and I really like my boxes to be beautiful too. When you open it, there's like a whole process to unboxing the candles. And again, with the storytelling, like, I want you to have this experience, so that, that was definitely something that was cool to figure all that out. But yeah, I mean, to be honest, Etsy is fairly simple. And I would encourage anybody who's thinking about starting an Etsy page to just do it, because it's fairly simple. It's not nearly as difficult as I had imagined it would be. I literally put the stuff up and it just started selling, and I was like, oh, wow, this is incredible. And Etsy has a pretty good search engine and, I mean, decent built-in marketing tools. So it was a really great little discovery, especially during COVID.
Awesome. So you mentioned that your candles are not normal and weird, which I like to just call unique. Where do you draw your inspiration to make such unique artwork?
Well, honestly, when I'm not quite sure what made me think I wanted to make a crystal candle, but I started looking online for a candle that was like in the shape of a crystal. And at the time there were none. And I was like, I bet I could make a crystal candle. So I figured out how to do it. And that's when I made 1 billion of them, because like the time I figured it out, I was like, oh, now I got to perfect it. So I made so many of them. It was incredible. But once I got it perfected, like, I wanted to make a candle that literally looked like a crystal, like you had just pulled it out of the earth and then there was a crystal inside. Oh, wow. And yeah, I mean, that was really the first step. And then after that, I think I just like to, and this is the way I write too, I like to make things that I would like to buy, or that I would like to watch, or that I would like to experience, or I'd like to discuss with somebody. I think that's, again, with Whispers too, even with my book, like, it's all about things like conversations I'd like to have, entertainment I wish was available for me when I was a kid, things that would help me see things differently. And it's the same kind of thing with candles. Like my rose candles are something that like I wanted a rose candle and I could not believe I couldn't find one like the one I have. It's 100% wax, even the outside of it. And I was like, why don't they make these? Why do they make them with trash when you could just make it with wax? Like, why do I have to throw something away? So then I started making 100% wax candles, and you know, that's how it happens. I guess I just want to buy it and it doesn't exist, so I made it.
You're watching the artist. You're watching the artist within. That's all for today on The Artist Within. Thank you, Bonné Bartron, for taking the time for stopping on by. And to you, the viewers, the guests, thank you for watching. Have yourself a wonderful day.